shooting on my phone. So I'm Josefina Yersa, the editor of Lacanian Ink. Let me thank you all for coming, and a special thanks to Jacques Tilton for hosting this quite extraordinary event. It is Lacanian Ink's 20 years of consecutive existence. We're launching issue 36. So, in line with what I said Wednesday night at Alain Badiou's lecture on Richard Castellani's comments in Soho, The Rise and Fall of an Artist Colony, if Lacanian Ink became a witness to the cultural phenomena of the century's last decade, we want to think that Lacanian Ink has in turn become witness to the 21st century's first decade of contemporary phenomena. It is the decline and fall of communism, said Jacques Tilton to me this morning. Decline entails something. To what kind of rising will Lacanian Ink be a witness? Lacanian Ink 36 general subject is the gaze. With Jacques Lacan Miller, and the Wolfman plays the role of spectator, going so far as to say that the subject's fundamental passivity, at first related to the seduction at the age of 3.5 by his sister, is fundamentally present to the subject's position in the primal scene. Before the seduction, there had been the scene with Grusha, in which the subject has shown himself to be active by urinating in front of her. For Lacan, the Wolfman is really stuck in the position of making himself be seen. You know how Freud discovers that the Wolfman sees the parental primal scene at the age of 3. How he will later remember, and then has this dream with wolves looking out the branches of a tree. Freud relates the dream to the parents' coito a tergo, that the Wolfman baby sees from the cradle, not so different from an animal love-making scene. Only much later he will remember and finally decode the memory of it through the dream, as he talks about it as a grown-up in analysis. Much as the baby child cannot really see what's going on, the Wolfman's general signification will not include castration. There is nothing lacking from the Wolfman's mother. Okay? Marie-Hélène Brousse ponders over a certain feminine know-how arising from 3 R's words: ruse, ravishing, ravishment. Because they constitute a discourse, they entail semblance and fiction. There is a link that is sexuated. Needless to say that the actual sexuated link will measure up to Lacan's "there is no sexual relation." With François Regnault, Lacan's marks from his it is Lacan's marks from his seminar at Paris 8. He quotes Jacques Lacan. I appeal to Marx, whose discourse I have taken much care in, importuned as I have been by him for a long time, to not enter too early a field where he is completely at home. I will proceed homologically from Marx in order to introduce the place where we must locate this essential function of the objet art. Lacan was importuned by Marx at the time when he used to read Capital as a 20-year-old on the metro when going to hospital. This completely at home, says Regnault, stands for the rejection of a gap, of a metaphor between both domains, and proceeds to quote Lacan, talking Marx together with his very personal theory. A subject is what can be represented by a signifier for another subject. No, for another signifier, sorry. A subject is what can be represented by a signifier for another signifier. Is this not modeled upon the fact that in what was deciphered by Marx, namely economic reality, the subject of exchange value is represented next to use value? It is in this fault that is produced and falls what is called surplus value. On our level, nothing counts more than this loss. Non-identical to itself, the subject no longer jouit. Something is lost which is called surplus value. It is strictly correlative to the coming into play of what will determine everything which belongs to thought. Again, from my conversation with Jack Tilton this morning, he challenged me to find a sexy line in Alain Badiou's Plato Republic, chapter 5. They are about to include, so I found it. They are about to include the necessary in an army. Yes. Nor do I think, as far as restraint goes, says Amanda, looking all innocent, that it's absolutely necessary for them to pay a fortune in dollars to keep a Ukrainian mistress with a map of blonde hair and a shaved pussy. I think it is porn enough, right? Jack, what do you say? I couldn't find, I looked and looked, there was not a porno line with Slavoj. I think this is the porno that I found. I am free if the substance of my being is not a full causal network, but an ontological incomplete field.
Sounds like somebody bluffing with some pseudo-deep statement, but doesn't really know what he's saying.
Signaled by a desiring, opaque God, who is himself marked by imperfection and finitude. Very porno. What does he want?
Who?
Maybe that's the part of the God. Now the famous line, with you, Alain Badiou and Slavoj Zizek in dialogue on philosophy and communism.
Yes. Philosophically, the word communism has a purely negative meaning. It signifies that the logic of classes, the fundamental subordination of real workers to a dominating class, can be surmounted. This structure, which is that of history since antiquity, is not inevitable. Consequently, the oligarchic power, crystallized in the power of states, of those who detain the wealth and organize its circulation, is not ineluctable. The communist hypothesis is that another collective organization can work, which will eliminate the inequality of wealth and even the division of work.